So, before I get into this video, it is a little bit scuffed. It's basically a data analysis of what Leeds United need to stay in the Premier League next season. However, I wasn't able to record it in the way that I particularly wanted. I'll explain that at the end, but stick with me because I put a lot of work into this video and it'd be quite nice if you watch through it. Thank you. Anyway, back to previous me. Data seems to be getting more and more important in the world of football as every single team that you know has had analysts look at what their teams are doing, what their teams need to do, and fixing the way that they play on the field. But there is one conversation that I have never particularly seen delve into the world of data analysis, and that is the sort of conversation around how a club will survive in the Premier League and what they need to do in order to stay up. So I figured what I would do is I would have a look at every single season of Premier League football where there have been 30... That was a fly. Where there have been 20 teams playing in the Premier League. Have a look at how many points every team in the bottom six had at the 30-game mark, how many points they had at the 38-game mark, and compare where Leeds United are now to where they need to be, and ultimately get a general idea of if we're doing enough at the minute. Now, this is all entirely hypothetical. We could be in a very, very weird situation, but I thought it'd be a quite interesting little discussion to have, and I hadn't seen anyone diving into the numbers at any point yet. Also, hear any weird noises, it's because I currently have a baby on my lap that is mostly asleep but sucking on a dummy at the minute, so there we go. Anyway, Leeds United are currently sitting on 32 points with 30 games played at this stage. 32 points and like a minus 11 goal difference has never put a side in the bottom three. Whilst a lot of people think that we might have been underperforming, we might have been able to do better, where we're at over the last decade would not have put you down at all at this stage in time. 32 points in 30 games keeps you up. According to the numbers, it's a little bit of a weird one. And in 3 of the last 5 seasons, having 32 points overall would have been enough to just save you. Admittedly, those were very, very weak seasons. That's not at all what we can expect to happen this year, because a lot of the teams below us are genuinely decent football sides, not Leicester, Southampton and Ipswich. But it's still an indicator that, relatively, we're not looking too bad at the moment. Now, compare this with the end of the season numbers, and the sort of total average that a team needs is 35 points, if we're looking more specifically, because I've got all the numbers in like intricate detail. What you need to survive is a little bit more than 34.3 points. That's what gets you 18th place, so you need a teensy little bit more than that to survive, but I've rounded up because you need a point more than them most of the time. So Leeds are potentially looking at needing 35 points on average. Weirdly, the average needed for the last decade is 31.7 points, which we are already beyond, and the average needed for the last 5 is 29.3 points, which means that the majority of seasons we would already be safe, at least in the last, 10 years. Admittedly, we're not always going to be in the last 10 years, but I just figured it was a little bit of an interesting thing, the fact that some people are looking at things going, I don't know if we're doing well enough, when the entire point of the season is maybe we just aim to survive. In most seasons, we already would have by now. A few little interesting bits of note as well. From this point remaining in the season, 15th place to 17th place tend to find themselves gaining 9 to 10 points. So from this date, 17th is currently sitting on 29 points. On average, they're going to add 9 or 10, which means that 39 points is roughly where we'd expect 17th to be at the end of this season. Whether or not that's the case, we don't know, but that's where the stats tend to sort of point things towards. On average, 18th will increase by about 7.2 points, so in this case, they're currently set on 29 points, which means that that boundary that we need to achieve, I'm going to put like 7 or 8 more than that, which means that 18th is likely to be on 35 or 36 points. So let's be a little conservative here, let's say 36 points. Based on the last decade, rather than all of the data, because before the last decade, sides at the bottom of the table were a little bit stronger towards the end of the season, Leeds would need 35 points to stay safe, which is absolutely reasonable. That is win one more game of football. And the fact of the matter is, fans are sort of saying, well, we should be doing more than that anyway. If you base it on the last 5 years, we would only need another 2 points. which is how weak the last 5 years have been. If anything, we're sort of returning to a standard Premier League season at the bottom of the league where it's not just 3 teams being the whipping boys, aside from Burnley and Wolves. But even Wolves and Burnley are starting to pick things up a little bit, which is a little bit fun. Personally, I think for the rest of the season, we need to get to 38 points. I think that will have it done. I think all of the numbers show that to be true. I think the fact that the sides that are around us have really bad fixtures show it to be true. And looking at where we're at, that's 6 points from 8 games of football. That's 2 wins. And if you ever look at who we're playing against, we have, I believe, Burnley at home, we got Wolves at home, we got Spurs away. Spurs, when they are playing at home, are relatively weak. They're not the best looking side recently anyway. And the highest ever points tally you have ever needed to stay in the Premier League has been 42. Even that only needs us to get 10 points from these 8 games, which admittedly, sure, is quite a lot. But what a lot of people fail to do, what a lot of people fail to recognise, is that whilst some of these points tallies in their head feel a little bit unattainable, you might be like, well, I don't quite see where this 6 points is coming from. I don't see where 9 points or 10 points are going to come from. All these questions. What people don't particularly do is look at the teams below us. No one looks at West Ham and thinks, well, if we need 6, they need 3 more than that, so where do their 9 points come from? They don't look at Nottingham Forest, who are struggling a little bit, and go, where do their 9 points come from? They don't look at Spurs, who are absolutely dire at the minute. They are missing the vast majority of their senior squad. This weekend, I think they had a bench of 7 players, 2 of which were goalkeepers. So they have a starting 11 and 5 outfield players. And that is not going to be enough in the slightest to do anything in the Premier League. And admittedly, some of those players will come back because concussion protocols come to an end, because bans come to an end, because illnesses come to an end. But they've played the majority of the season with those players. And the majority of the season has landed them exactly where they are right now, which is hovering dangerously above the relegation zone. At the moment, our goal difference, -11. Admittedly, could be better, but it's better than Forest, who are on -15. It's better than West Ham, -19. All of the teams that are chasing us, in my opinion, are in worse positions than us right now. Spurs' fixtures are horrible. Ours are quite nice. Better goal difference than the other 2. What matters at this point is that we don't let issues like Goodmanson getting suspended, for example, affect us too badly. What matters is that we keep on pushing to get whatever result that we can out of any given match, which, admittedly, it would have been really, really nice at the weekend to have won. But the moment you get a key player sent off for absolutely nothing, that chance goes out the window a little bit. And I think we've shown the sort of togetherness and the push for success that you need to survive in this league. You need character. And as Daniel Farke likes to put it, his Warriors have been doing pretty damn well recently. So looking at the numbers, looking at what we're likely to need being about 38 points, there's easily 6 points in what we've got left. This side, I believe, can push to 40 and maybe even higher. And now it's up to the squad to prove us right if we're believing in them, or wrong if you're the kind of person that just thinks, it's knacked. But, yeah, let's hope. Because that's all that we can do as fans, and if we're not doing that, then what are we doing? Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. It took a little bit more effort than the standard one, and it came out a little bit worse than I hoped, because someone has been a little bit screamy for the majority of the night, which means that it's been quite difficult to get like a chunk of time in to do some recording. The general idea at first was record like half an hour, 40 minutes of analysis and stuff, and then just edit that down quite heavily to be the best bits. Not had the chance to do that, so I've done the edit in the writing, if that makes sense. Either way, if you enjoyed the video, please pop a like on it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Pop a comment down below of the number of points you think we need. I'm kind of curious about that. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Toodaloo.